Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Ryan and Rush Show. On today's episode, we have West Virginia coaches James Long and Chase Harler to discuss the upcoming TBT tournament. All ahead on the Ryan and Rush Show. And we welcome you back to your source for West Virginia sports. I'm Rambling Rush. He's Moneyline Mac. We are the Ryan and Rush Show, and we're getting right into it with the coach, Mr. TBT, coming off a nice workout at the practice facility, all sweaty. But hey, we're so thankful that he's on right now, Coach James Long. How are you doing? Oh, there's our former guest, Mr.
Coach
Tallman, Coach Tall. It's a whole reunion here on the Ryan and Rush Show. How's everything going, James?
It's good, man. Good to be back in town. TBT keeps drawing me back in. It's a mess. You're just trying to get to game one with the roster you actually had planned. You're trying to get your full team at least one practice before the games. But all jokes aside, man, it's probably as much fun as I've had coaching. You don't have a lot of control points, like with a group that may practice one time together. But, it's really cool to kind of figure it out as you go. It's high-level basketball. You see a lot of different things. Like you heard that. It's kind of a system you're going against. Then you play teams like Team 23 who have, like, big-time pros, and then you have, Buccaneers who's just tough, and they have two guards that are just making contested threes all game. So you're getting to try a bunch of different stuff schematically, and it's so much in 1 week if you keep winning that, like, you lift your head up and it's done, and it's just a really great experience. And the best part about it is just getting back with all the people you love and care about and spend a lot of time together. So I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can. And, first year I was like, it was whatever, probably not going to do it next year. But now I'm just like, you know what? I love it. As long as they'll have me, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it, James. You do it because you're coaching with your former teammates, friends, family, and in front of Mountaineer Nation. Real quick, let's rewind. You graduated in 2017. You left WU in 2019 to go be the head coach at West Virginia Tech. Update everybody watching right now where you're at right now in your coaching career.
Yeah, so I'm at Davidson Day School. The claim to fame for West Virginia fans is it's where Will Greer went to school. It's just an opportunity. We started a player development company in Huntersville, North Carolina, like Lake Norman area. And I'm a coach, man. Like, if there's one thing I found out in that year, it's that I'm not motivated, by purely. And when I say that, like, I love my job and I'm super grateful for it. And the Carolina factory is, as happy as I've ever been. But there's a huge hole in my heart from coaching that I needed to fill that void. And now that I'm coaching at Davidson Day and working at the Carolina factory, it's honestly the happiest I've been in my adult life. And the kids at Davidson Day are just so incredible, the people there. And it's really good basketball, on this year's team alone. Like, we have a freshman I think is going to be, a nationally ranked player. Our point guard just got offered by Arizona State. We have another point guard who got his first Division I offer from Radford. We have a shooter who has Drake, Marshall, or not Marshall, yeah, he's in Marshall interest, but, Drake and UNC Asheville, Mercer. So, great caliber players and great caliber kids. And, it's a really cool part of their life to be involved with. They trust you a little bit quicker. They're in a really vulnerable spot. And you get to be a big part of their development. My number one mission is get the kids recruited that are going to play college basketball. And for the ones that aren't, help this be a vehicle to, help them accomplish what they want to in life. So I'm really happy, man. And the Carolina factory is a great thing. It's got some West Virginia flair to it. Our strength coach, Aaron Lambert's from Beckley, and Jim Benelli, our boss, is incredible. So, it's a good life right now, man.
That's awesome. And I mean, James, you can even hear it in your voice, how fulfilled you just sound and just how happy you are. And of course, coaching, and especially being at West Virginia Tech, being a walk-on player at West Virginia, working as part of the coaching staff there for a little bit. I mean, those are some high-stress situations. So it definitely sounds like you kind of found that balance of you're getting a little bit of everything, but still remaining in the field of basketball, which is awesome. Kind of speaking about you being a walk-on at West Virginia, kind of making an assumption here that obviously being a walk-on versus a scholarship player, you have to grind it out more. There's more uncertainty. You have to deal with adversity a lot more. How was being a walk-on player? Did that help propel you to be a coach? or any skills that you learned from being a walk-on player to drive this passion you have for coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the main thing was checking your ego. Once I walked in the facility for the first time, um, I wasn't in a luxurious position when I got here. There's 4 walk-ons, and to be honest, they were trying to make 2 quit. And I was sharing a locker with 3 other people, and when you're at the end of the bench, sometimes you're dressed, sometimes you're not. The fans feel the need to mess with you, and none of that stuff bothered me because I got good advice from a friend when I got here. He's like, you have to accept that your playing career is probably over, and I did. And from there, I just worked hard to kind of prove that narrative wrong and try and put myself in a position where I could play. But if I wasn't a walk on, I didn't experience what I did here, I wouldn't be the coach I am. I think the main thing for me that everyone is different, and I feel like the best coaches, and I still fight this battle every day, but I feel like the best coaches just accept who they are and they be that. There's no one way to do it. People have won national championships running flex offense. People have won national championships within the last 5 years playing pack line. Like it doesn't matter what you do. I think you just have to be yourself, and you have to make a collective group of people want to rally around what you believe in. And I think that when I was a walk on, I got a vantage point that like I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel a part of it, and I felt like I contributed to winning, even though I wasn't playing. In terms of when a guy was having a bad day, being able there to pick him up, working really hard in the weight room, setting the tone. I honestly feel like I went in every day saying like I'm going to set the tone for West Virginia basketball. It wasn't about me, and to me, I felt like I impacted winning that way. So I want to always make sure that managers, walk-ons, everybody understand how important they are to me, and that they do have value in my program, and they always will. And I want to make sure they know that every day, because and two, like the best players that get to shoot every time. Yeah, I will always let my best players play where they are comfortable, and they will be able to feel like they are the best player at what they do, and I'll make them believe that. But you also have a great responsibility to, hey, that guy that's not playing, like you better treat him right. You better do everything I'm asking you to do defensively, and I probably coach those guys harder than anybody in the program. But I just want to make sure everyone understands how important they are to me. So
That's
No,
incredible.
and I could speak from firsthand, James. Just I've always had so much respect for you, and then we've been friends forever. Just with your approach and your unrelentless work ethic, and I think people don't know that everybody talks about how JC was always in the gym. You were in the gym with him every step of the way. You were the other guy that he was working out with. So that transitions me into my next question. You're coaching a bunch of guys that you played with. Like you said, you're a walk on, and some of the guys were some of the better players that we've had at West Virginia. This is your third go around at the TBT. What have you learned from the previous 2 experiences that make you a better coach now than 2 years ago at the TBT?
not trying to control everything. I
Yeah.
think you got to pick your control points. These guys are pros, but you can still confuse the shit out of them. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss here.
No,
You
go
can
ahead.
still confuse the shit out of them in 4 days time if you're trying to do everything. So I think whittling stuff down and focusing on what's important. Um, and too, like my first year, I was really trying to prove that I could coach professional players. And want to have everybody involved in all the conversations and be like, hey, what do you think? What is this okay? I was trying to please everybody. And Deshaun Butler had a great talk with me going into week 2, and from there, I've just kind of you do have to empower guys that are doing it to make sure they're comfortable in it. But I also stopped looking for approval everywhere and just trusting that I've put the work in. And I'm always conscious of who the team is and what's going to work best for them. Each year we've had a different system. This year's going to look really different. And I think just having confidence in preparing and, I think my presence going into year 3 and the preparation from our staff is in a really good spot. And I honestly love this roster better than any roster we've had. I love the system we're doing better than any system we've done. And I feel like we have a team that can win $1 million. Now, granted, if we lose first game, that's how this thing goes. You can't control what happens all the time. It's 31 minutes of play. It's then an Elam ending. That's not a lot. the numbers in a situation like this because there's not a lot of time. So you just don't know what happens. But regardless of lose the first game, lose the third game, win it all, I feel like this is the best team we've had, best system we've had, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and talking about success, and especially a tournament kind of like this, you have a lot of guys that have obviously played professional ball, played college ball, and now you're kind of going back to almost that AAU style of 3-4 games in a week, trying to figure things out on the fly. Talk to us a little bit about your schedule leading up to next week, when your practices are, trying to time things right so that you feel everyone is prepared, but they're not overworked either.
Yeah, it's a great question. I would, the essence of it, I would say that you have 7 days and you're probably practicing 3 to 4 times, maybe 2 times hard. Because at the end of the day, these guys are getting back in shape. This is their vacation time. Some guys got done on June 28th. So this is time with their family. This is vacation time. So you're trying to fight the battle of getting back in shape, getting them some reps together. Because if you're trying to figure out that first game, how to play basketball together for the first time, you're probably going to lose. Like at the end of the day, these are all professional basketball players. So we're trying to get them reps together. A team that's never played together, it's really important. Obviously, you're trying to instill structure into some of those control points that you do have, offensively, defensively. And there's little things that you don't think of along the way. Like, do we have a sideline out of bounds play? Do we have a baseline out of bounds play? Do we have a defense where we can switch it up if things are going bad? Do we have some after timeout stuff that we can, bank on if we need it? There's a lot of stuff that you have to get in, and it's a battle. I've fought a couple times now, thankfully, with the TBT. And it's never going to be perfect. You just have to make sure that you're prepared and organized from our end as the staff that, we have this stuff we need to get in. Let's make sure we get it in. And most important thing, getting these guys reps together.
Absolutely.
James, you mentioned your staff. From what I've seen, it's going to be Coach Tallman once again, Peyton Sturm, who was there every step of the way with you at West Virginia Tech and was a manager for Hugs as well at West Virginia. You bring in Steve Beer, who was behind the scenes and very, very valuable member of what we did on a day-to-day basis there in that practice facility, and then Greg Richardson. So you guys all have one thing in common. You love the state of West Virginia. You grew up in Charleston. It's going to go to Wheeling this year, though. Speak about what it's like to coach every single summer in front of the great people of West Virginia.
It's great, man. Like, to me, you're representing West Virginia and West Virginia University. It doesn't matter what capacity you have. TBT is not a Mountaineer game in the Coliseum on ESPN playing a Big 12 team, but you're still representing the university. And to me, it's, what I've always dreamed of. And I never take it for granted. I kind of take it in the moment when we're there. And, you could go about something like this one of two ways. You can be like, oh, it's just a TBT, it is whatever. Or you can be like, what, this is an opportunity to represent the state, represent the university, and make the most of it. And that's what I'm going to always choose to do. A lot of people are like, why would you go back to TBT? You guys have done well. What if you lose first round, or what if you lose second round? I don't care. I'm always going to put myself out there. I'm always going to, take opportunities to coach and learn and grow. I coach AAU in the spring and summer. I coach high school, coach TBT. I'm going to coach anything I can because it's who I am. And reps are reps. And, that's what we're here to do this summer, is to get some reps together and chase $1 million. And it's an opportunity to be special together. So we're going to make the most of it.
That's awesome. And absolutely, you have plenty of talent around you. Hopefully, you're in Philly and get that $1 million for the team. But of course, the whole community's behind you. And we just appreciate the fact of you working to pull something like this together and coach it and give us something in the summer months to cheer for, especially with the West Virginia brand on it. So try not to lose game one, but if you do, you still have obviously the community and support behind you. But more importantly, no pressure at all. You go on to win that $1 million for the team. We think you have 16 people, which works out to about $62,500 a person. You got to pay Uncle Sam in there, whether you report it or not. We won't tell anyone. But what are you doing with that $62,000 if you win it?
Well, I'm sure John will find a way to short everybody some money. I'm sure it'll end up being. I'm sure that I heard the coaches is like 30 some. if we win. So John Flowers being John. No, I'm kidding. He gave me this opportunity. I'm thankful for him. But no, I got a wedding this year, man. So it's I'll
No,
put
I
a
feel
dent
that.
in that. I'll still be paying some of that off. But no, that's where it'll go, and I'll be very thankful for it. If that Zelle hits my account, I'll cry tears on that TBT court. So if we win and I'm crying, just know it's because I can get some of that debt off my head from the wedding.
There you go.
I love it. Hey, James, real quick before we get out of here, you're in the practice facility right now. Everybody can hear the guys working out behind you. You're about to go to practice. But like I said, you're in the practice facility. It's a transition year for the current Mountaineers. I'd like to think of us as a fraternity where Josh was the first video coordinator for Hugs at West Virginia. Then he gave it to you. Then you gave it to me, and I gave it to Jared Corson. So we're all in the same fraternity.
Yeah.
What's your analysis early, just seeing this new Mountaineer group? I know they're still trying to fill out the roster. And then just speak about people don't know as much about Josh Eilert yet, as much as we do, and he's been there every step of the way. Give us your early analysis on Josh Eilert himself and his staff and his current roster.
He's a phenomenal human being. We all know that. He's done a lot more for my life than anything basketball. When I look back on a relationship, I look at, how he molded me as a young man. So I know he's going to do the same for these guys. Obviously, the staff, guys that have played here, have expertise there. I'm sure player development and all that is going to be great. As far as the state of the program and stuff, obviously got to get some more guys in here. It's nothing but unfortunate what's happened in the past, month or two. And I just think that that's the only way to put it. And I'm overly transparent that, it's sad, some of the stuff that's happened. But, I think Josh is going to get it trending in the right direction. And that's all you can do. And before a year, when my senior year, I felt like we had a national championship team, but I'll never be like, we're going to win. We could win this many games, or, I think we could win 20 plus, or you can't do that. I think that if you put a number on something, you're going to feel like a failure. My last year at Tech, we were 16-1 and top 10 in the country, and we lost 60 points per game to injury. And our record ended up being a lot worse off than it would have been, but it didn't make it a failure. It was one of the most special years I've ever been a part of. So I feel like, as long as these guys keep trending in the right direction and getting better, that's a really good thing for where it's at. I believe that they'll get it trending in the right direction, and then the wins and losses, whatever happens from there, you just never know. And, we'll see.
One game at a time. That's all you can do,
right?
right?
That's right.
James, we really appreciate your time. We know you need to get to practice. We look forward to having you on the show down the road and talk about your career at West Virginia and go into more depth about everything a lot of things you brought up today. But hey, good luck to you. Good luck to West Virginia. And thank you again so much for coming on.
No, thank you guys, man. You guys do a really good job. I'm impressed. So thank you.
Appreciate
it, James. Go win $1 million.
Let's do it. See you, boys. Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
See you, James.
Hello, Rambling Rush here, and we'll take you back to your episode momentarily. The Ryan and Rush Show is on its way to monetization, and we need your help. Please subscribe to our show if you haven't yet, and let your friends know all about it. The Ryan and Rush Show is your source for West Virginia sports, and our goal is to make this our full-time job and to give you the best news and analysis available. Again, that's the Ryan and Rush Show. Please subscribe today and share with all your friends. Now back to the episode. And we welcome you back with the assistant GM player. We prefer the mayor of Moundsville, Chase Harler. Chase, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on to talk some TBT.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk to you boys.
Coach Harler, thank you again for coming on. Real quick, just catch everybody up on what you've been up to. You see the background behind Rush. That might be the last time everybody saw you at the Coliseum in 2020 before the world shut down. What have you been up to in the last couple of years professionally?
Yeah, so I, my last game was when I proposed to my now wife, and how my career ended at West Virginia, where I really didn't have much of a say. It kind of motivated me more to try to continue a professional career. So my rookie year, right after WVU, I played in Lithuania, and then had a good year, and then carried that over to my second year in Sweden. And I just finished my third professional season in Hungary. But what else I got into this year, which mean, NIL is the main topic when you talk about college sports. I started working with Country Roads Trust while I was in Hungary remotely. I still, I guess you can probably say I'm part-time with them, and I'm still engaging with some businesses, for their sake. But yeah, I've been with Country Roads Trust since October as well.
Doing a little bit of everything. You're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. That's what you should just say. I'm an entrepreneur now,
Yeah,
and
try
let
to stay
people
busy.
interpret it how they
And
need
then
to.
obviously I'm, the self-proclaimed mayor of my home city of Moundsville.
Moundsville's awesome. I have a buddy that lives right near Moundsville. I enjoy going through there.
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
once in a while. Because I know we have you on to talk TBT. You got a busy schedule, and again, we appreciate you coming on, Chase. We'll get you on a later episode and really kind of dive into your West Virginia career and everything related to that. But before we kind of get to the TBT, obviously Ryan brought up the picture behind me. Had to put it up. Going into that game, when you have to, I proposed last year, and man, I was nervous enough.
Oh my God!
Not only do you have to propose in front of everyone in the Coliseum, and then you have to play number 4 Baylor after that. How do you what's the priority? How do you get your mind right? Like just walk us through just your mental state through all of this.
Yeah, I'll just give you a quick little how it went down. Obviously we went and looked at rings in January, and then we really didn't talk about it much after that. I wanted to keep it secret. I knew I was going to do this for a while, and played on Saturday. I went home and picked up the ring on Wednesday. Obviously asked her parents for the blessing, and then Thursday, I was more nervous to ask Hugs than her parents, to be honest. Thursday, I had to go in and ask Hugs. I was like, I can remember. I just knocked on the door. I was like, I'm just going to ask right away. I was like, Hugs, I want to propose. Obviously, he knows Lindsay. I was like, I want to propose to Lindsay on senior night. I don't want it to be a distraction from the team. I don't want it to come across like that, but this is something I really want to do. He was like, okay, that's fine. I was like, okay. So then obviously we had practice Friday, and then Saturday did it before the game. And like you said, kind of getting back to the right mental space. I didn't. I came in and shot 0 for 4 from 3 within the first 3 minutes. And then I don't think I played the rest of the game, which I didn't even care. I just wanted her to say yes in front of everybody. Yeah, and then luckily Deuce pretty much won us that game. So shout out to for coming through big time for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you remember how that game started? 9-0 Baylor, 2 minutes in, timeout Hugs, and I'm like, oh man, so much for this feel-good story. Let's put McBride in and let's get this thing going in the right direction. And then obviously he brought down the house. That's the loudest I remember the Coliseum. But let's talk some TBT though. West Virginia, obviously you're the assistant GM, self-proclaimed. Tell us a little bit about your responsibilities and just the stuff that goes into it behind the scenes. Everybody sees you guys play the games, but there's so much more on a yearly basis that goes into this.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, to be honest. Probably a little bit more than I thought before I got into it. I played 2 years ago, and I did a small event in Wheeling for a weekend. I did the exhibition game. I did the golf scramble and a basketball camp for the weekend. So, that was kind of my taste of being able to manage things, be able to manage people, be able to manage money. Then I didn't play last year due to my wedding, but as the assistant general manager, I do a lot of just behind the scenes stuff. We started, having meetings with myself, David Ryan, which is our marketing guy, John Flowers, the general manager, and then Greg Richardson, the other assistant general manager. We had conversations back in January about what we're going to do. We started fundraising because in the past, the problem was always, like I said, I don't really do much roster management. That's more so John and the coaches. I just make sure we have enough money to keep the lights on. So, we do a lot of fundraising. We do events. We do camps. And, it's my job to make sure that we're bringing in more money than we're putting out, right? And there's a lot of expenses. I mean, luckily, we're the host team in Wheeling. So TBT credited us $10,000 for hotels, which saved us a ton of money. But however, the biggest thing right now for me is, our plan is to make it to Philly for that Final Four. So I have to pre-plan buying hotels, getting transportation, meals, stuff like that. So, it's been hectic, but honestly, it's been a lot of fun. I like being in this role with more so like the business side of sports.
It seems like since West Virginia and the TBT kind of formed, every year it's been like you've kind of got an inch closer. In terms of this year, what have you learned from past years, and what advantages does the roster have this year that the roster may not have had in previous years?
Yeah, we had our first practice yesterday, Tuesday, and James even made a comment at the beginning of practice, like just what he's taken away from it, where maybe the first year he did it, he was too structured, too micromanaging, and then the second year he felt like he might have took maybe a step back, meaning he let us do too much, and now he feels like he kind of has that happy medium because, when people think of summer basketball, they think of almost like pickup and just getting up and down. I mean, we're all professionals and we're playing for $1 million. Like, this is real basketball. We're going to have schemes. We're going to have defensive priorities. We're going to have quick sets, long sets. So I think in the past, I think just playing in it 1 year, obviously West Virginia being in the TBT for multiple years, just having that healthy balance, right? Like I said, we are professionals. We know how to play basketball, but there needs to be some sort of structure, and kind of find that happy medium is what we're striving to get this year.
You make a good point and great question, Rush, about inching closer. Sweet 16 2 years ago, Elite 8 last year, even though it was a true road game. You guys had the benefit of playing at home for the first 3 rounds in Charleston. This year we got a new venue, and it's close to home for you in Wheeling. I mean, everybody watching on YouTube right now sees your name as the mayor of Moundsville. That's your nickname that I think Hugs gave you on the radio station. So what's it going to be like for you personally, just being able to play in front of a lot of family and friends in the Wheeling area? Because I know how much that area means to you.
Yeah, for sure. I was super happy when they decided to take it to Wheeling. I can remember I had a conversation with one of the TBT guys, or multiple TBT guys, back in when I was in Hungary. Maybe, I don't know, beginning of the new year, they reached out and just asked me about the venue, asked me about the area, asked me if I thought it was going to be a good fit, and I gave them honest answers. I mean, we used to have in Wheeling this thing called the Cancer Research Classic, which was one of the top premier high school basketball showcases. I mean, I saw Ben Simmons play, D'Angelo Russell, Jason Tatum and Miles Bridges. I mean, Jalen Brunson, all these guys. And we used to have unbelievable crowds there. And it's been gone for the last 4 or 5 years, I want to say. Wheeling, the Ohio Valley enjoys sports. They enjoy especially basketball. And I really hope, West Bank was a little bit of a smaller venue than the Civic Center. So even if we have the same amount of people as we did in Charleston, it's going to feel more packed because it's just a smaller venue. So I think it's going to be a great time.
If everything goes according to plan, you guys win in Philly. You said where the Final Four is. You get that $1 million. What are you doing from there? Because I'm guessing it's $1 million for the whole team, right? Everyone
you split it
cut up. Yeah. So what would that? How many coaches and players are you up to now?
We have 11 roster players on the roster. We have four or five coaches. So what's that? 16 that would split that $1 million. What would I do? I would just go right back to Wheeling Island, the casino, and put all my winnings on black and just let it roll.
I knew you were going to say that because you held the golf tournament up there a couple years ago. We had a fun time at the casino later that evening. Yeah. So everybody watching on YouTube right now, you're probably wondering where Chase Harler is currently. He's actually in the practice facility right now, the beautiful $25 million practice facility. You guys practice there leading up to the games next week in Wheeling. Tell us about now. Obviously, you're in the practice facility for the next week. Everybody's wondering. It's a big transition year, obviously, from Hugs to our new head ball coach, Coach Josh Harler, who we have a really good relationship with from our years at West Virginia. Tell us a little bit about your early analysis on the Mountaineers so far, just playing, because I know the TBT West Virginia will play not organized scrimmages, but you guys will work out with them. Yeah. And then give us some insight on Coach Eilert as the head ball coach early on.
Yeah, so I came out a couple times prior to being here this week. I like the transition. I think the supporting staff is unbelievable. I mean, Jordan McCabe stepping up, bringing Deshaun back and Ruoff. I like I think I even said this to Jordan. Like, I just like the young energy around here. It's just different, and that's a positive thing. That's a great thing in recruiting, right? I think the player development side of it is increased. I think that's a lot better. But yeah, as far as just the morale and energy, it's all positive here. I mean, they're ready to work. Obviously, the roster isn't full, so their main priority right now is filling that roster. Speaking of staff. Jay Kuntz just walked by and waved at me. But yeah, just I think everyone's stepping up, and there's more on everyone's plate, but they're eager to get to it. And as far as Coach Josh, I think it was a great hire. I think he's a great leader. I think people underestimate how much he knows basketball. I think the main thing people are probably eager to see or looking forward to is, in game situations where he makes those adjustments, and there's nothing you can judge him off that because he hasn't done it before. You know what I mean? There's going to be some mistakes. There's going to be some losses that should have been wins, but that's just part of the process. And I've openly said I hope he does well enough and, everyone wins and they just bring back this whole staff, because I think this staff could be really special.
You know what you're going to do with the money if you win. You know where the game's being played. You get the home court advantage leading up to that. If you're holding that trophy, putting your stamp on the poster at the end, being champions, why? What was the X factor?
This is going to sound so boring, but rebounding, to be honest. I didn't play last year, but that's been since day one. Well, we literally had one practice, but the day of practice, our emphasis was rebounding. I mean, we did a box out drill as 26-plus-year-old professionals. So, like I said, I wasn't on the team last year. I watched all the games. I forget what game it was. Maybe the game they lost, they might have given up 16 offensive rebounds. So it's really just going to come down to the little things: rebounding, making open shots, taking care of the ball, because it's really a 31-minute game, because once you get to the Elam inning, anything can happen.
You really were paying attention all those years, because you just gave out the keys to victory: take care of the ball, rebounding, and defense. So somewhere Coach Huggins is smiling right now when he listens to this. So, yeah, absolutely. Always the keys to victory, West Virginia basketball staple.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So Chase, when you win your portion of the $62,500, and I just did 16 divided by a million. Yeah. Little taxes might be involved, but
Uncle
just
Sam.
Keep that hush hush. Yeah. And you go and you put it all on black or red. Just can you just let us know, and we'll do a little Ryan and Rush event up in Wheeling Island.
Yeah, for sure. And if I lose, you know what I'll do? This is what I'll do. I'll charge people tickets to come watch me play.
Ooh, smart.
And if I lose, I'll try to get as close as I can to that 62.5. You know what I mean? Like,
hedge your bet.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then if you end up winning, then they get like half their money back, or maybe they get their ticket back. So then it evens out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, drinks are on you when you guys get it done in Philly in a couple weeks. So I'll hold you to that. Look forward to having an adult beverage with you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chase, thank you so much for coming on. We know you're strapped for time. We really appreciate it and look forward to, when time frees up a little bit more, having you come back on and telling your life story and your career at West Virginia. Good luck to you guys, and look forward to watching you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chase. Go Mountaineers. Hey, everyone. Moneyline Mac from the Ryan and Rush Show, your source for West Virginia sports. As we wrap up year number 1 on the Ryan and Rush Show, we can't thank you enough for your loyalty and support. And as we transition into year number 2, we need your help. We need you to get over there and subscribe. It takes 10 seconds out of your day and really helps out the show. The future is bright in West Virginia athletics, the Big 12, and of course, the Ryan and Rush Show. And we can't wait to be with you every step of the way, bringing you the necessary content and information you need. So remember, subscribe, and let's go Mountaineers.